Hello and welcome to Olsem Wanem. In this episode, we take a look at violence and abuse on women and children. However, women and children are not the only ones who suffer from such, but men as well. Violence and abuse is usually targeted towards people who are seen as inferior, weak, and vulnerable. It is rather tragic that most of these crimes go the least unpunished. We now take a look at violence on children. Violence in Papua New Guinea is a major issue and people have been talking about it and looking for ways to address it. Women, children as well as men experience different forms of violence. There are different factors that contribute to violence and abuse in a society.
Common factors that lead to violence in humans in general. It's not just women, but in humans in general is if other people don't see them as valuable, then they are open for abuse. If other people don't see their importance in the world, then that leads to abuse. But again, like we were saying, for children as well as young ladies, young men, adults, you don't do anything to deserve it. There's nothing that you did to deserve the abuse. There's nothing that you did to deserve being raped. Nobody deserves that. Everybody is entitled to live in an environment where they are appreciated, where they're tolerated, where they're celebrated.
One of the most vulnerable groups who experience violence and at most times are scared to speak out about it is the children. Children are too afraid or intimidated to speak out when they are being abused sexually, emotionally, mentally, physically or psychologically, because in most cases the perpetrators are people close to the children and whom the children trust and not strangers.
Tanim begen lo disla beginning med 16-year-old. Kisi me go lo Vision City car park tok mi go lusim yula house na kan. Na disla third born girl Sheila tingol sem true la go lusim because tambu blongen papa blongen. So I'm not thinking money kala go lokar kisi go rapi mem underneath lo car park lo Vision City.
Adults have a responsibility to make sure that children are safe and happy in their living environment.
Things that cause emotional and physical violence, usually with children, emotional and physical violence is placed upon them, usually by the adults or the older teens who are around them. Most kids are born in environments where they should be loved, they should be cared for, they should be nurtured and protected. Usually if they're not cared for, if they're not nurtured, they're not protected, it's because an adult has either left them open where they're vulnerable. So really the messaging that we should be getting to them for just violence and abuse is that we really need to focus on helping the adults learn how to respect and care for and nurture the kids.
What are some actions that abused children can take to get them out of the situation that they are in?
And that's the reason why the government has put into a lot of policies, one of which is tuition fee free, is trying to enable that child to be able to get free education and to complete their school education and to enjoy that time when they're in school education to be able to see that they are somebody.
Things that we need to be focusing on, and I believe the government are taking actions in terms of what they're focusing on, trying to improve services to the districts and then to the lower levels at the community and village level. So perhaps when that time probably comes, then we will say that all the rights of all children in the country have been realized. But for now, I believe that we still have a huge number of children in the villages that still have a lot that needs to be done in terms of not only the health and education services, but also in terms of their protection too.
One such law was passed by the government in 2009, which is the Lookout Pickaninny Act.
Section 2 of the Lookout Pickaninny Act defines a child in need of protection as a child whose parents are dead or incapacitated and adequate provision has not been made for the child's care, who has been abandoned by his or her parents and adequate provision has not been made for the child's care, who has suffered or is likely to suffer significant harm as a result of physical abuse or maltreatment, who has been or is likely to be sexually abused or exploited, who has been or is likely to be physically harmed, sexually abused or sexually exploited by some person other than the child's parent, and the parent is unwilling or unable to protect the child, who has been or is likely to be physically harmed because of neglect by the child's parents, or is sexually or emotionally abused by the child's parents or guardian, whose development is likely to be seriously impaired by a treatable condition, and the child's parents refuse to provide or consent to treatment, who is living in a household where there have been incidents of domestic violence, and as a consequence, the child is at risk of serious physical or psychological harm, who is or has been absent from home in circumstances that endanger the child's safety or well-being, who has serious differences with his or her parents to such an extent that the physical, mental or emotional well-being of a child is being seriously impaired or threatened, or the care and control of the child is likely to be seriously disrupted. Under the Lookout Pickaninny Act, a child may also be a child for whom emergency protection powers can be used. This can happen where a child has been abandoned or is unattended shortly after delivery, appears lost or to have run away, shows signs that their health or safety are in immediate danger.
There's a lot of awareness that needs to be done. I don't think that we have a lot of people, and especially people maybe in the rural areas or in the provinces, we need to also raise a lot of awareness on them that, children have a law that protects them so that they are aware of that, and that when it comes to mistreating or abusing children, they are aware that, there is a law that protects children. At the same time, we also need to raise awareness and educate parents and communities and carers of children that, there are other ways and forms that we can use to take better care of our children instead of, hitting them, when we should be talking to them and, raising them up nicely, guiding them, providing all that guidance, so that they are aware that, there are other ways that we can use to raise children up in a way that is healthy, a way that is friendly to them, so that when they grow up knowing that, they have parents and caregivers who can correct them in the best way possible for them and help them raise them to be good citizens and also productive people.
There are many individuals and organizations that work together to address domestic violence in Papua New Guinea. In this segment, we feature Child Fund, an organization that has been working in the country for many years, as well as the story of a woman who was violently attacked by a complete stranger.
My name is Helen. I went down to the store to buy food. There was a stranger there. We started fighting and hitting me and then started biting my lip. He took it off.
Like, our approach is to work, as I said, for deprivation, exclusion and vulnerability reduction of children. So to do that, working only with children doesn't solve the purpose. So we take a holistic approach. We work with the entire communities. We work with parents, caregivers, elders, church leaders, whosoever is in the community, to create an environment for children where they can grow, they can reach their full potential, and they are not excluded. Well, the Helen's film was shot in an attempt to make people aware of what violence can do to an individual, and it's a unique story of a woman who struggled, who was really found it hard to cope up after the incident. When the film when people see the film, they'll find out the difficulties that she faced, and whatever happened to her was just because of violence. So now after that incident, many people came up who assisted her, and now I think she is living a good life after her surgery.
My name is Helen. I have been suffering for 2 years for the loss of my leg. Tomorrow I will be going to the hospital, and finally my lips will be patched back, and I could eat well and I could drink well. I feel very excited about it. My family, I have already told them, and they be coming to the hospital to bring me home back. My life will be changed after this, and I am very happy. After going for surgery, the doctors came and took the plaster out of my face. When I saw in the mirror that I saw the leaf back, and I was very happy all about it. I still have some scars, but it will get better. My husband and all my friends, all my relatives, they all surrounded me, and then they all took hands with me. Some hugged me, some kissed, some were crying, some of the sisters and friends, and they were very happy all about me. And I would like to thank Child Fund and Interplus doctors for coming and patching my lip back. And I would like to encourage to all women in Papua New Guinea who can come out and share your story. Don't be afraid, and then the help will come.
Often we speak about violence on women and children, but men also suffer from violence. A woman can inflict violence and abuse on men in different ways. It can be bullying, mind games, emotional blackmail, and physical violence. We now show you a short film by Daniel Wilkinson on how men can suffer from violence and abuse.
Sorry I'm a bit late, babe.
It's fine.
She's been doing that all day. She probably just wants a cuddle. I'll just go.
No! She needs a routine.
Not been waiting long, have you?
Only about 2 hours.
Right, well, better warm this in the microwave then.
It'll be fine, Lee. Just eat it.
No, it won't take us there.
Lee, for God's sake, what did I just say?
Okay! Okay.
Well, go on then.
Carla, it's cold.
Well, it wouldn't be cold if you were home when you said you'd be. Just eat it. Don't want it? Fine. Don't eat it then! Who's Rachel?
Who?
Well, it's clearly someone who you know. Looking forward to the darts night tonight. Can't wait to see you, new boy.
Carla, she's just a girl from work.
Well, you've never mentioned any girls before. You only ever talk about the lads.
Because she practically is one of the lads. As far as I can tell, Carla, I barely even know the girl.
What does she look like?
What?
Is she pretty?
Carla, I don't know her!
Liar!
What the hell is wrong with you?
Why do you have to ruin everything? Made you some tea.
Here. I'm sure that'll fix everything.
I know what. I don't know what happened. Just the thought of you.
I don't want to hear it, Carla.
No, but Lee.
I said I'm done. You certainly haven't changed.
But it will change. I'll change.
No! He's gone too far. Chloe needs me. Chloe needs a responsible parent. Chloe needs someone who won't give her a black eye when she forgets to take the bloody bins out.
You can't take my child away from me.
Get the help you need, and then we can talk about joint custody.
If you take her, I'll tell the police you've been hurting me. What? You think I couldn't do it? You think I couldn't just stick my arm on the stove just to prove a point? The marks on you were just self-defense. You're the monster, really.
And that's all we have time for on Olsem Wanem. Thank you to all who have participated. A reminder that if you have any comments or stories you would like to share, please contact us via the address on your screen or visit our Facebook page. For now, enjoy the rest of your viewing here on your #1 station, EMTV.